Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Hello and good morning to the Weekend Sports Recap. I'm Isaiah Rosario, joined by my co-host Akeem, where we recap everything that happened over the past weekend in sports. And boy, was it a weekend in sports. A lot of happening. Obviously, Super Bowl, bit underwhelming to many. College basketball was quite opposite. It was to the hype. NBA was a little bit slow this weekend. We'll discuss a little bit about the trade deadline as well, some of the moves we thought, and I think we both consensusly thought it was one of the weirder trade deadlines we've seen in quite some years.
100%.
And then also pitchers and catchers are going to report. We'll maybe go into a little bit of a preview of what we think about the season, what teams are going to be doing good. And then you're going to talk about the Premier League for the first time this year. So I think we got to start off with obviously the Super Bowl, the very underwhelming Super Bowl. It seemed to be the Jason Myers Bowl, as he had majority of the points if it wasn't for a touchdown by AJ Barner there. But besides that, it was a very underwhelming Super Bowl. Not a lot of points scored.
Yeah.
Both QBs seemed a bit rattled and didn't really know what to do. Obviously, it was their first Super Bowl, but hopefully it was a growing experience for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, the first half, like you said, was boring. Jason Myers, he had 17 points. I mean, accumulated half the points, pretty much half the game. At one point, I saw the graphic where it has become the Rams. I mentioned while we were watching the Super Bowl at the Beachmont Tavern, it seems like the Rams and Patriots Super Bowl again. That Super Bowl had no touchdowns until late. But first half boring. Second half was more exciting. I want to hear your perspective because obviously you had the most in the game because you're a Seahawks fan. I was partially a Seahawks fan for a good time when they had Russell Wilson. I remember watching that 2014 Super Bowl. 2013 Super Bowl was better. Obviously, they destroyed the Broncos and MetLife, and then you saw the pick six, smaller pick six, the jump pick, Ricardo Lockett. And you also saw Malcolm Butler ring the bell in the game.
We don't need to talk about that. I got PTSD when I noticed that these were the two teams playing because they were in the exact same uniforms as last time. Like, oh, geez, here we go.
Yeah.
But when it was the NFC Championship, I was just very excited, and then I realized we're playing the Patriots. I'm like, what happened last time we played the Patriots? I'm like, we can't do this again. And then, especially with the start that we had, I'm like, this can't be how it ends. But thank God they picked it up. I mean, Sam Darnold didn't play his best. He even said post game that obviously we didn't play the best offensively, but he doesn't really care because they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Can they do better offensively that game? Yes. If it wasn't for Kenneth Walker, we would be having a completely different story right now because he, Super Bowl MVP, went ballistic every time. He seemed like he touched the ball, was going for like 7-8 yards. The defensive line for the Patriots really had no answer at all for him. They're lucky they also shut down JSN. I got to give props to Christian Gonzalez. He played really well against him. But again, I think the Seahawks team is still the favorite in the NFC for next year, which is great. They have a couple free agents that they should re-sign. Shaheed is a free agent. Kenneth Walker's a free agent. Tariq Woolen's a free agent. If I'm the Seattle Seahawks, obviously I think there's room to improve. You could always get better. But I think your offseason starts with re-signing those three players. And if you re-sign those three players and they're willing to come back to potentially run it back, I think you have a great chance of winning the Super Bowl in back-to-back years. Because, again, we don't know what we're going to get out of the AFC. It was a very weak AFC this year, very underwhelming. The Ravens were very underwhelming. The Bills were very underwhelming. Chiefs very underwhelming, but they'll be back. It's no way Patrick Mahomes is going to allow that to happen. And if they get an offensive weapon, right, they're going to be completely dangerous. Somebody was saying Breece Hall to the Chiefs, which would be great for Patrick Mahomes, one of the best receiving backs also in the league. But again, I think the Seattle offseason needs to start with re-signing those three players, and then I think there's a chance to repeat. They're the number one favorite right now to win the Super Bowl again next year via the odds, them and the Rams. But I don't think the Rams need to figure out their stuff. Their defense and special teams is atrocious. If they don't do anything to that defense, they're not going anywhere. But again, I'm very happy. Still debating on getting a jersey, waiting to see those royal blue throwbacks come back. on the Fnatic shop because I want to buy it there. If they come back, I think I'm going to buy a blue JSN. Those are probably the cleanest jerseys in all the sports, and I want that one over, say, a Super Bowl like T-shirt because if they're going to sell out again, that jersey's so nice. So again, that's what I think. Resign those 3 players, and Super Bowl will be back on.
So you think you could be better than the Rams with Matthew Stafford coming back, who just won MVP? They obviously have Devontae Adams is a free agent, but they can potentially bring him back. They have a top 15 pick thanks to the Falcons. Their defense, like you said, the back line is a bit questionable. Obviously, they gave a bunch of points to you against that team with Sam Darnold, who looked shaking in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, but Patriots got a great defense. They have good players on defense, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. Obviously, do need to prove that secondary, but they have a top 15 pick. They have potentially some more cap space to go after some key free agents. They are the Rams. They won a Super Bowl. They've been part of the Super Bowl, I don't know, for the past couple seasons, NFC title games. So you're really confident that
we have to re-sign those 3 players first. Obviously, there's going to be room for improvement. We have to get a new offensive coordinator now because Kubiak now is the head coach of the Raiders. But I think, we defeated them with the pretty much fully healthy squad in the NFC Championship. It was at home.
Yeah.
But even when we went to LA in the beginning of the year, it was a close game. It wasn't like it was not a close game. And we really didn't click until like the end of the year where our defense really stepped up. The dark side was a great nickname, and hopefully they want to run it back. The team seemed to really enjoy being around each other this year, and I think that's the most important thing, just keeping that core together. But I'm just nervous about, say, a Shaheed or Kenneth Walker leaving. I could see a Tariq Woolen staying, because he was one of the core pieces of that secondary. Our secondary was great this year. We had great pieces all around. We had Witherspoon, we had Jordan Love, we have Tariq Woolen. That was one of the best secondaries in the league. And our line obviously caused problems all year for every single QB that we faced. Number 1 scoring defense in the league, didn't let the QB have time to really sit in the pocket. And if he had to sit in the pocket, he probably had to scramble to either side at certain points during the game. So I think that's how it is. We obviously are the team to beat right now because we are the Super Bowl champions right now. That's how it should be for everything, right? When you say, say like Indiana, they're not the team to beat. They're the team to beat. They're the defending champions, and they're only going to get better because as long as Cignetti's the head coach, everyone's going to want to play for him. And that's my saying. I think everyone is, no matter what league, if you're the defending champions, you're the team to beat, and you're the team that should be there to compete for years. And they're not an old team. They're relatively young, Seattle. They're a young team.
Yeah.
And Nick Emmanuel, he's drafted this year, and he was up there for Defensive Rookie of the Year. JSN is only in his third year or second year,
yeah,
going into third. And then you have
Ernest Jones,
Witherspoon also going into his third year. So this is a young team. Sam Darnold's not the oldest either.
28.
He's got plenty of time, and Seattle could keep him around for a few more years, extend him. I know he's only, I believe, on a 3-year deal, but if they want to extend him again, if he wins another Super Bowl or even goes to the NFC Championship again, which I think is very likely. The NFC wasn't strong this year, and who knows what's going to happen with the 49ers, right? They're always hurt.
Yep.
I know the Bears are going to get better because I know a lot of people are going to want to play for Ben Johnson.
Eagles are in there. Buccaneers are potential
Eagles,
teams.
I could see
Detroit
crumbling very quickly. Or not Detroit, Philadelphia, sorry.
Yeah,
Philadelphia could see crumbling very quickly. All it takes is A.J. Brown or request out, and that's a completely different offense. Because I could see a world, right, where he goes to the Patriots because he wants to be reunited with Vrabel, and that's always been one of the ones where it's been talked about, but it's never officially happened, right? And that could happen because you could see he's very unhappy there, and who knows what's going to happen with that offense in Philadelphia. And the 49ers just can't stay healthy. Detroit, hit or miss. They don't have a great defense because they outscore. They outscore you. But again, as we saw this year, defense wins championships. You got to build a championship caliber defense if you want to win, and that's what Seattle did. They built the dark side, Legion of Zoom, as some call it too, and they built a team that was going to get at the quarterback. And it even feels like, I know the broadcast said it a few times, it feels like there's a lot more players on the field for Seattle because how they're built in coverage, and they're not afraid to even blitz, right, with a safety or a corner. They're gonna go in because of just how good that defensive scheme was. They still feels like there's like 4 deep in that backfield, and I'm happy with what they did this year. How could you not? One of the best defenses we've seen since the
100%.
Legion of
Yeah,
Boom, right?
basically, yeah.
And it always seems like Seattle is always up there with one of the best defenses of all time. And I think we got to keep having that mentality. Obviously, offense plays a big part when you have JSN and Kenneth Walker, Rashid Shaheed as well. Cooper Kupp, who's been phenomenal. He was the X factor, I think, in this playoffs. Gave Sam Darnold multiple targets when he was not himself. Also, AJ Barner was big as well. But
Scored a
again,
touchdown.
yeah. But again, you got to build that championship caliber defense if you want to win, and you got to keep it. And I think Seattle understands that when they win Super Bowls, they have an amazing defense behind them.
Yeah. And then obviously on the other side, we got to talk about a little bit about the Patriots. Drake May was absolutely horrendous. Defense was, good
Defense
for
was
the
good,
first
yeah.
half, but it just broke at one point. Like I mentioned while watching the game, like defense going to break at one point, and then they finally gave that touchdown to AJ Barner. They have Christian Gonzalez. They have some nice pieces. Will Campbell, you thought was a nice piece going into the season. Played okay throughout the season, and Super Bowl kind of he got it really, really exposed, and maybe he might have to switch positions because he single-handedly gave up like 3 sacks, almost 4 sacks. So I mean, he was absolutely abysmal. The run game, they had the run game is not really that good. You have Travion Henderson's a good player, but you're between Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. Whoever you're going to balance as your bell cow for the future, they got to decide that. The rest of the offensive line is not that great. You saw that in Super Bowl. It created so much pressure against Drake May. Drake May needs a number 1 receiver now. Stephon Diggs had a phenomenal year, but Stephon Diggs is 30 plus,
30 plus, and also having some legal issues right now.
Several.
Broke up with Cardi B over the weekend too. It was how quick of a turnaround. And I always love the meme where they go back to his Viking days, and I guess the social team wanted to ask the players, who would you not date your girlfriend? Everyone said Stephon Diggs, and it makes a lot of sense because supposedly he brought another girl to the game. I was like, he's got to figure out his stuff first. I think he has some stuff going on somewhere. But yeah, I mean, overall Super Bowl, Will Campbell. What was the saying when he was in college? If you're a D lineman, give up a 1 sack a game, or offensive lineman, you're giving up 1 sack a game, you're going to work at Amazon and get all the AI edits now. Him and Amazon, because he played very underwhelming. He said, "Oh, I'll fight and die to protect Drake May." You look like you're letting him die out there.
Yeah, he was absolutely dismal. I mean, he is at a disadvantage because he has really, really short arms for a tall guy. But even then, it's like, you're still talented. You're one of the best offensive linemen in the draft class at playing at LSU. You're one of the top recruited guys coming into LSU. So you're expected to, perform at a high level if you get drafted as a high pick from the Patriots. And you didn't do that. Like I said, maybe a positional change, maybe inside a guard, maybe center. It might help him. But I don't know what's the best outlook for them because I feel like going into the Super Bowl, the Patriots were a bit kind of overrated. Look at the teams that they beat over 500. I think it was like maybe 1 or 2. Maybe the Buccaneers. I think it was probably the only good team that they beat, and the Bills. But in that game, they let the Bills score 30 points in that game. So I just think they were wildly overrated. They had a really easy schedule. You can see what their schedule looks next season against tougher teams who rebuild and get free agency and the draft classes that they could bring in. Do you think potentially they'll? In my opinion, at their best, when you think of the AFC teams, you look at the Bengals, you look at the Bills, you look at the Chiefs. And the Chiefs not gonna be that bad. Jaguars are fantastic this year. They would be good again because they have Liam Cohen still as head coach. What's another team I could potentially say that's better than them? But just talking about, I mentioned Patriots. It's like 5th. So do you think they could be? I don't think they'll reach Super Bowl again, but
I think it'll be a few years before they come back. I mean, they're a young team as well. But also all the teams you mentioned do have pretty big flaws that's shown to cost them, right? Say, for example, when we look at Joe Burrow, right, and the Bengals, their defense is abysmal.
Yeah.
Like abysmal. It's like one of the worst defenses in the league. And if you can't stop anyone, you're not going to win games. Same thing with Buffalo. Their defense is not great.
And they need a number 1 wide receiver. It's just Khalil Shakir.
And their offense
tight
is
ends.
awful besides Josh Allen, right?
Yeah. And James Cook.
James Cook too. But then the Chiefs also, they have holes.
Yeah.
They don't know if Kelsey's gonna retire at some point this year. When the Jags are another sleeper team I really like this year. But again, all the big teams this year, the Ravens have obvious flaws, right? Every team has flaws, I think, in the AFC. I think the NFC is still that division, right? When you have the Packers who are going to get a fully healthy Micah Parsons coming back. Jordan Love is going to figure it out. CJ Stroud is another QB in the AFC that's just struggled offensively.
He's terrible in that game against the Patriots too. How many picks did he throw? 4? Almost 5?
Yeah, some stupid number like that. But again, every team in the AFC does have flaws, which I think NFC is still going to be the conference to beat
Mhm.
these next few years until they figure their stuff out. I mean, obviously, there's a lot better talent, right? But
Yeah.
there's a lot more talent widely throughout in the NFC, and I think the NFC is gonna continue to exploit that for the next few years. Because again, the NFC is a bit younger, but they are more developed, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who comes out of the AFC next year. I think it's more open than people really do think. It all depends also on the offseason and who these players draft and stuff like that. But we'll see. Only time can tell. We got a few months till the NFL draft, I believe in June.
Yeah, it's around May, June. The
So we'll
draft
see
process.
if teams want to draft up. There's no really crazy talent this year um, in the draft. Next year, I know it's going to be a great draft.
Yeah,
Um,
Jeremiah Smith.
So I mean, hey, it's been a good NFL season wrapped up. Now it's everyone did those videos of it's our time for college basketball and MLB. So transitioning then to
Yeah.
college basketball. What a weekend in college basketball. Multiple upsets within the top 25. One of the greatest games of all time, potentially, in Duke and UNC. An undefeated team is no more undefeated.
Arizona,
So
yep.
we'll start off on Friday slate with the Johnnies upsetting UConn. It was all from the statistics. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch most of this weekend because I was busy, and then Saturday with work, it was unfortunately missed all the primetime games because our game here at Iona was at 7 o'clock, and a lot of the primetimes games were at 7 and 8. So I missed most of them by the time I got done cleaning up and everything. And like most of the games are wrapping up, but overall, St. John's, well, a good rounded game. Shot terribly from three, but everyone was talking about the free throw discrepancy
Yeah.
for St. John's and
30
UConn.
That's huge. 31 free throw attempts for St. John's. Connecticut were only 12. That's
But
crazy.
making only 5 is
Yeah.
the reason why it could have been a lot closer of a game. You can't have 7 misses, missing 60%, right, from the line. And the 3 scorers did well. Solo Ball didn't
Solo
do
Ball
great.
is very poor. Braden Mullins is poor as well. Jaden Ross as well. Terrace Reed is okay, but usually Terrace Reed's like a 20-10 guy. He only had 12-6. Alex Caravan, the veteran, 17-3-3. He had a good game, but yeah, this I can see why this is the main talking point is the free throws because that is a huge free throw discrepancy. 31, and the team you played against only had 12. That's a huge difference.
Oh yeah, that always makes a difference in the game, especially what you say you hit 4 of those, right? At more, it's still a 2 possession game at
Yeah.
that point rather than a 3 possession by 3 threes.
And they could have almost got blown out too because he only shot 26% for 3, 5 and 19 from 3. UConn shot 9 and 19 from 3. So their 3-point shooting kind of saved how bad that game could have been. But UConn is still one of the top teams.
Oh, I still trust UConn a lot. That's playing Rick
100%.
Pitino at MSG, a home game. But I'll take UConn in the March Madness if they end up matching up. I'm taking UConn.
Yeah, 100%. Because the same week, St. John's almost lost to Xavier. They barely won in overtime.
Yeah, St. John's team is up and down, but they're a hot team right now. Would you want to face them in Big East play? Let's see how the tournament racks up. First, right now, officially in the Big East, tied with UConn, but I think they obviously have that tiebreaker. Or did they play twice? I don't even remember if they played. Yes, I don't think they played twice.
Not yet, because they had the back end of the schedule where it's just all Big East play. They play each other again February 25th.
So that's going to be obviously, I think, determines who gets the 1 seed in the Big East tournament. And whoever gets that 1 seed, it doesn't matter for either of these teams. Both are going to be an at-large anyway. But that's going to be another good game at Stores this time. So I think Hurley's going to be more prepared. I mean, he's always a prepared coach. Don't get me wrong. But a loss like that for UConn was coming. You're not going to be a 1-loss team for as long as they were. Same conversation with Arizona that was had yesterday. It's probably better to not be undefeated.
Yeah.
And it's better not probably have 1 loss because you have more growing pains. Like you're always going to look at the bad. I mean, Hurley probably looks at the bad every game. You could win by 60 and still look at the bad. Like we could have done this better. But a loss was coming like that, especially in New York, in the Mecca. It's a tough place to play. It's not easy at all.
And then obviously another game we're going to talk about is Illinois versus Michigan State. I want to point out 1 point in that game. I mean, Jeremy Fears is a really good player. I think it was earlier in the week. Game against Minnesota. Yeah,
ridiculous.
He's a fantastic player, but his temperament is kind of reminding me of another
Grayson Allen.
or Grayson Allen, but
Oh.
another Michigan State player, Mr. Draymond Green, trying to kick players in the nuts and trip them. I don't know why he's trying to do all that nonsense. He did a trip play in the Illinois game. He got flagrant, but he's still a fantastic player, but he needs to really control himself. Illinois is fantastic, and that game was back and forth. I thought they might have sneak away with that because they had the last shot in the game and they missed. Keaton Wackler hit a fantastic three-pointer to put it to a one-score game. But Michigan State, like you said, Jeremy Fears, 26 and 15. It's not the first time he's had double-doubles and assists. Remember a couple games ago, he had double-doubles and assists, and he had 0 turnovers. Like, he's a fantastic player. Cohen Cars, elite athlete. Jackson Kohler, fantastic game against veteran, 11.16 rebounds. They came out clutch, beating an Illinois team that was on fire. I think they had 11 games in a row.
Yeah, it's 11-12.
Yeah, they were on a fantastic win streak going to that game.
Yeah, and also Wagler did not play good at all. So that could be a completely different game if he obviously hits one more shot. But 2 of 16 from the field, unacceptable, I think. But again, it's Tom Izzo defense. They know how to make offenses worry and make specific players have awful games, and that's what Izzo does. His defense has always been one of the best year in and year out. But like going back to Jeremiah Fears, I mean, I saw a TikTok is relating him to Grayson Allen because it's kind of the same thing, right? Yeah. Like abruptly, whatever the word is, intentionally going out of your way to try to get an advantage through like stupid plays like that, and you don't want to be connotated with Grayson Allen because that's what he's known for. He's still known for it in the NBA. Any dirty play he does, you look back at his college days, and if Jeremiah Fears is going to keep doing that, then that's an issue, right? I mean, Izzo said like he doesn't stand for it, and he will bench you a few more times if he doesn't. I think he does it 1 or 2 more times, he's getting benched. I mean, you don't want to do that as you're entering February, entering March, bench your star player like that. But that's unacceptable. You can't be doing that at all. That's bad sportsmanship. No one's going to want to connotate you with that. And look at, say for an example, in NFL terms, you look at a Shedeur Sanders, really hockey, does some interesting stuff off the field, especially on the field too, with his temperament. The same thing, his draft stock could hit because of it. Because no one wants to deal with that, right? You want to have a player who's even a better person, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not going to get that out of Jeremiah Fears, who's going to want to take that? Like, look how long Framber Valdez went unsigned because of what he did to the catcher. Same thing for Jeremiah Fears. He could easily go down now if he continues to do this. But does the talent really outweigh what comes with on the court? I don't know.
I think potentially does because he's still one of the best guards.
He is, but you don't want to deal with that. You really don't want to deal with that. That's say if he does that in an NBA game. NBA players don't stand for that. They're gonna go right at you.
No.
And you're a guard. Say if you do that to a forward, they're coming right at you. You're looking up at them and realize what you've done. But hopefully, if he gets drafted, which obviously he's going to, that there is a coach that will not stand for it and will get in his face about it, like Izzo's been getting in his face about it. Because I think Izzo is a tougher coach than a lot of these NBA coaches nowadays. But like a Mazzulla would be in his grill. Like that's one of the only coaches I could really think of. Maybe like an Ime Udoka on Houston that maybe goes at him a little bit more. But a lot of these NBA coaches I don't think would deal with that.
No, they just wouldn't draft them, honestly.
Yeah. But it's like unless a coach could handle it.
Yeah. And then another team when we talk about, like we mentioned before, undefeated, gone down, Arizona, played against Kansas. And obviously the key point going into this game is that they didn't have Darren Peterson. So they were already the underdog. And without having your best player, you have a slim chance against a team that's undefeated to beat some of the best teams in the country, beat UConn, beat Duke. They have fantastic players in Krivas, Burries, Jaden Bradley, Pete. But Florian Badunga, Bryson Taylor, Melvin Council, they all showed up in this game. They all had 20-plus points. Well, Bryson Taylor had 18 points, but still he's fantastic on both sides of the floor. Just going 7 of 13, 10, 2 for 5 from 3. Florian Badunga had a double-double, 23 points, 10 rebounds. Melvin Council, again, fantastic player. I mean, super underrated. Might go into the draft this year, even with players like Braden Burries and Caleb Wilson, Agent Vance. He's still one of these players that you got to really consider as going into this draft class. Close game. What do you think of? Obviously, do you think? I still think that Arizona is one of those teams like a UConn, like a Michigan.
Oh, Arizona's
So,
not going to
yeah,
fall. They're still going
no,
to be number one. Going into Allen Fieldhouse,
yeah,
losing by 4. I mean, losing is not ideal. Don't get me wrong, but you're going into one of the toughest places to play in college basketball, and you lose by 4. They went ice cold in that second half. I think there was a stretch where they made 1 field goal or 2 field goals within
yeah.
10
They're
minutes.
struggling. They were taking really, really poor shots, like pull up attempts from 3 and just fade away from mid
But
range.
that crowd obviously has a major impact on the game. Allen Fieldhouse is one of the best atmospheres in college basketball, if not the best. I think up there with a Cameron Indoor. But it doesn't take a hit on Arizona's resume at all. First loss of the year, coming all the way in the second week of February.
Yeah.
There's not much you can complain about with this Arizona team. They're still completely well-rounded. And for Kansas, Darren Peterson, yes, I have had high praise for him all year, but he can't stay healthy. And supposedly it was symptoms, right? And he just didn't want to play or something like that I saw yesterday. And statistically, Kansas is kind of the same team without Peterson. I'm not taking that anything away from Peterson. He's a great player. Obviously, Kansas is better with him on the floor, but how much better? I don't think they're that much better with him not on the floor. I think the ball moves more when Peterson is off the floor.
Yeah, 100%.
And what you have you have 20 point scorers yesterday. What 30 of those probably went to Peterson.
Yeah.
More people get to touch the ball. This Kansas team is more dangerous when they're able to move the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe Peterson may potentially, obviously he shot not great from 3. Peterson is a good 3-point shooter, but I don't know, man. If he wants to continue doing these antics of saying flu-like symptoms, not officially flu, wasn't tested for from what I've heard yesterday. I mean, if I'm Bill Self and can't stay healthy and he wants to help his draft stock because he knows he's a solidified number 1, probably think at this point, then I'm okay with him not playing because who knows? Maybe it would have been so ball heavy, right?
Yeah,
Against Arizona.
Yeah, limits his shot out.
Limits other players' shots opportunities, and maybe they don't win this game. So that's my opinion on it. I think Kansas could be a better team without Peterson, right? I forgot there was one team NBA wise. It's like the team was a lot better without their star player. But moral of the story is I think they could be just as good of a team. Kansas is obviously going to bump up, I think, to within that top 6 after next week's AP poll. Let me see who they do play the rest of the way, though.
Yeah,
at least this week.
Talking about Arizona or Kansas?
Oh, Kansas. Sorry, Kansas should still be. So they have another test is Iowa State on the road on Saturday. Keep that game close. I think you're going to bump up a couple spots in the AP poll.
Yeah, they still have a tough route. I mean, playing Iowa State at Iowa State, playing Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State, who just beat BYU at home. Cincinnati, okay. Houston might be a trap game. Then they go to Arizona and play them in the rematch. Arizona State and Kansas State. So they could. I don't think they will be number 1, but they have a chance if they run that schedule out and just win every single game.
Okay, beating Arizona twice, beating a number 5 in Iowa State.
That could be a number 1 seed.
Oh, 100%. But now another team that was unfortunately upset this week was Tennessee falling to Kentucky. Kentucky takes their spot within the top 25 now. Kentucky's now ranked. Tennessee fell out. It was a tale of 2 halves. Again, your boy Nate Ament was him only and no one else. No one helped him at all.
29 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. The best score was Jacoby Gillespie with 15, but yeah, Tennessee just struggled. They just really centralized their offense around Nate Ament. And similar to, like we said, with Devanza and BYU, if you just close off everyone else and just make, Nate Ament just go crazy, he's going to start dropping points. He gets 30 points per game, but he can't consistently do that every single night where you had to get 30 shot attempts and everyone else. If they can't knock down their shots and they're inconsistent and you pass it to them, they're wide open, they miss. They lose close games like this against Kentucky. Kentucky is a good team. They've been inconsistent. Mark Pope, yes. A fantastic coach. Otega Owe, really good athlete, solid player. Colin Chandler's a good 3-point shooter, but he's inconsistent. It's a good win from Kentucky. I still don't really consider them a really, a scary team out in the SEC. You still got teams like Vandy, but
Vandy's on.
They just lost to Oklahoma, but I was watching that game. They were down by 20 and they almost won. They almost got a buzzer beater, but that's another comment for another day. But when you look at the top SEC teams, I don't think they're really one of those teams that you can really consider as a threat. You still have at the top of SEC, you have hold on, let me pop the SEC rankings. You still have Florida in there. You have Arkansas, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Alabama. I just think this year, when you just look at the SEC compared to last year,
Oh, it's a lot weaker than last year.
yeah, Florida is one of the best teams in the country. Kentucky was still pretty good. Arkansas, they have still fantastic players, but they've been up and down. Went on a win streak and they lost. Texas A&M, good team in SEC, but they're not really a great team. They were undefeated in SEC. Then now they're making matching up against ranked opponents with better recruits. They're starting to lose games. Alabama, like we're gonna talk about. I forgot the guy that is G League dropout. Finally got his
Bediako.
Bediako
got denied
now.
5 games, and that was it for him.
Yeah, finally that mess is over with. But Alabama was good last year, but outside of LeBaron Philon and Wright-Sell, their team is kind of short, not really that good. Mizzou, Texas, like the rest of the SEC is not that good, but just wildly inconsistent.
The Big 10 and Big 12 took over college basketball this year. They have 10 teams, I think, combined within the top 17, number like that. That's insane.
You got Michigan, Illinois, Nebraska, Michigan State, Purdue. I think Iowa's ranked, and then you also have UCLA. Like they just like 7.
So like when we look at the top 25 right now, I'm gonna call them the big conferences. So Big 12, Big 10, Arizona, Michigan, Houston, Iowa State, Nebraska, Illinois. Illinois, Kansas, Michigan State, Purdue. You have also in there Tech.
Yep.
And then you have BYU at the bottom.
Yeah, it's like loaded.
That's the 2 big conferences this year. And when you look at the top, they still top 10 is combined, or like not anymore, but when you look at the top 6, they've combined for 10 losses on the season.
Yeah.
The top of the AP poll right now is disgusting. Like all those teams, in my opinion, could win a national championship.
Yeah.
And even going into the top 10, I think all those teams are worthy of winning a national championship.
100%. Top 10, Michigan State, Kansas, Illinois, Nebraska. We mentioned before, Nebraska. Forget about them. I don't think they're a legitimate threat, respectfully. UConn's a threat. Iowa State, maybe. Duke, 100%. Houston, yes. Michigan, yes. Arizona, yes. Under them, like I said, Florida, if they can be consistent, they're a threat. Vandy, like we said, they're okay, but obviously them losing to Oklahoma, who's, I think before that game were below 500. They were 11-12, and they were down by 20. So I don't really consider them a threat. Virginia's underrated. BYU, like you said, really AJ dependent. So it's mainly going to be a Big Ten team or a one of those teams out west that can potentially win a national title.
Yeah, I like Arizona. Houston's a very good team. Michigan's a very good team. Duke, Iowa State, UConn obviously could win. Kansas, all you need is Bill Self. Same thing with the Spartans, Tom Izzo. UNC's been picking it up a bit this year. I don't know if I trust them as much. But speaking of USC, what a win, right?
Yeah, buzzer beater.
One of the greatest rivalries in college basketball and one of the greatest rivalries in the country. Went neck and neck. Questionable play calling at the end by Jon Scheyer. Didn't call a timeout, just let Boozer do an ISO and just got nothing from that ISO. And it's not the first time that Jon Scheyer has failed to execute at the end of games, and especially at big games. That could be the inexperience. It's his 3rd year at the helm, I think, but you would think 3 years at the helm, you maybe want to call a timeout and draw up a play rather than letting them dribble it out on your final possession, which would eventually lead to the game winner.
Yeah, I mean, even the closeout, you saw the video of the closeout that's on ESPN. I mean, they all collapsed. 4 collapsed on one, and then open shooter, Seth Trimble, best shooter on North Carolina, wide open threes. Just wrote your own death.
Write your own death wish at that point. They play again, and I think at March. I forgot the date, but I do think they play again in March, which would be another great game at Cameron Indoor. That place is going to be rocking. And I think that was what college basketball needed right now. Obviously, the teams are playing phenomenally, but they needed that UNC Duke game to come up because that game is always one of the most nationally broadcast. Everyone's there. Everyone in the powder blues for UNC, and then everyone in the dark blues for the Duke Blue Devils. But overall, great game. Nothing you can really complain about. Again, I'm gonna complain about Shire, like you brought up. Like you don't need 4 people collapsing on
Yeah,
one
no.
guy and then leaving him wide open in the corner, and then try to recover right there in the corner after you contest because it's never gonna work out at that point. So I think do a double team maybe if you know he's gonna drive, but you gotta
Yeah,
guard
yeah.
that perimeter because if he kicks out, then you're screwed. Which eventually what happened.
Still have a tough game. I think it's today against Miami Hurricanes, 18-5.
That's
They're a
gonna be a
solid
very
team.
difficult
Yeah,
game
it's gonna be.
on the road.
I feel like it might be a trap game for them because Miami's a really good team. They beat Syracuse, kept close against Clemson. Look at some of the other teams that they beat. Pittsburgh, who's good in earlier half of the season. Ole Miss kept it decently close against BYU, but they lost by double digits. But they're at home. It's a really really close game, especially in ACC play. You can't underrate your in conference teams like you saw like Vandy. They underestimated Oklahoma, got blown out by 1 point by 20. They closed it, but still lost that game.
Yeah, no, it was never close that game. They
Yeah.
brought it back at the end,
Yeah.
but the momentum was always with
Yeah.
Oklahoma throughout the whole game.
Yeah, and then what was it? The BYU lost against Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's an okay team, but they were at home.
That's something I'm realizing with all these teams that have power freshmen. The inexperience does show at certain points, but at the same time, you find a way to stop that freshman, you're winning the game.
Yeah.
Like the great freshmen, don't get me wrong, but you need like a well-rounded roster to obviously win in college basketball. Your freshman star power hasn't really taken teams anywhere. When was the last time a freshman has really single-handedly took a team to the Natty?
I mean, Carmelo.
That's the only one.
That's so in 2003. So
Like all the other star freshmen that were taken number one haven't won national championships. You need to build a roster with experience and not build not put all your, I guess, stacks in one cup or whatever the saying is to one freshman.
I'll take Kentucky as well with Anthony Davis, but that team was super stacked.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Looking
that team was
now,
stupid.
we have a star freshman at Houston, right? Has one.
Kingston Fleming.
Yeah.
But they didn't win.
Yeah, they have they have issues, right?
Yeah.
Duke is a well-rounded roster. Illinois,
UConn, Michigan State,
Michigan,
somewhat.
yeah.
Florida, if they're consistent.
BYU dropped all the way to 22. So you got to build a roster consistently, a well-rounded roster. You can't put all the chips on the table with the freshmen. And I think that's shown certain parts of the year, like certain upsets that should not be happening for these power conference teams are happening because you find a way to even stop like a couple of players. The freshmen can't do it all themselves, or if the freshman has a bad game, you're gonna lose. So I think that's the trend I'm noticing now this year in college basketball.
Yeah, and then when to transition to NBA a little bit, we predicted one of the trades, the James Harden trade for Darius Garland. Obviously, it was we said before it was an upgrade offensively, but defensively, you're going to kind of struggle with the backcourt.
Yeah, no team is going to be
no.
able to. They're not going to be able to guard anyone. That team defensively, besides Mobley and Jared Allen.
Yeah,
but the guards are going to eat up those two guards.
Spurs didn't really make any moves. They're still one of the best teams in the West. Cam Thomas went to the Bucks, but doesn't really. It's super random. Doesn't really move the needle. A couple good ones. Your team got Vucevic.
It's been playing well so far for us. A tough loss against the Knicks, but who knows? Everyone could have been just hyped up around the Super Bowl that day and living in Boston. It was not their day, obviously. It was always the Patriots' day that day. I think they're like 10-1 or something when they play on. When the Patriots play on the same day or some crazy number like that, but that doesn't really mean anything. Another big trade that I felt very happy for, Jared McCain finally got out of Philadelphia. He deserved it. The injury last year really screwed his career. He was on pace to be Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to thrive with OKC, the young team, and I think that's what he needs, a team that's fresh, a team that's happy to be playing with one another. Obviously, didn't put up great stats the first 2 games. But again, it's tough when you have a stacked roster, really. But I think that change of environment is what McCain needed, rather than just a bunch of washed old heads on that 76ers team with Paul George and
suspended
for drugs, for mental health, which if it's true for mental health, then he shouldn't be suspended for it. And like a washed, well, not washed, but like
he's good, but
he's good.
The
washed
athleticism, defense, no.
I think he needed that change of scenery because again, Philadelphia has always been so toxic in that area, and it's always something there. And I think I'm glad for him that he got traded there, and I can't complain. He deserved it. Screwed over. They drafted Another guard with VJ Edgecombe. I loved the draft pick at then, but I didn't think 1 and 2 is like they're gonna screw over Jared McCain because if he's not fully healthy yet, they're gonna go off of Edgecombe, and he's been playing phenomenal.
Yeah, and another trade that was kind of scratching, but it's more prioritized for the future if everything goes well in this draft. Because the Los Angeles Clippers got Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, the Pacers' first-round picks, which the Pacers are one of the worst teams in the league, tied with
First
the
4
Kings.
protected, as you said.
It's top 4 protected, but we saw last year the Jazz were the worst team in the league last year, and their pick fell out to top 4. So that happens to the Pacers. It goes to the Clippers. They get Benedict Mathurin and a top 5 pick to build for their future. They got a 20 to 29 first-round pick, 28 second-round pick, and then obviously they got Zubac, which will help them. Obviously, they have a really, really good team. If they have that top 4 pick, then you're talking about Debansa, you're talking about Cam Boozer, you're talking about Kingston Fleming, maybe one of those 2 players. Probably not the guards. Maybe Caleb Wilson, maybe a Debansa, one of those 2 players, a forward player. Then you have Zubac, you have Pascal Siakam, you have T.J. McConnell, you have obviously Tyrese Maxey, you have Andrew Nembhard. They might be building on another finals run next season. So that's a really good trade for the Pacers if everything goes well in that draft. Some other ones, you had Sumu to the Bulls for Rob Dillingham. Suns add Cole Anthony. Hornets got Kobe White, and the Hornets actually, looking like a really solid team. My Knicks got Jose Alvarado, who's a really good defender. Obviously, he's a bit undersized, but when you look
They
at the top,
needed that defender because that was the thing with the Knicks all this year, just
especially
their
at the guard
defense.
spot. Yeah, especially at the guard spot when you have Tyrese Maxey, you're match up against in the playoffs. You match up against Jamal Murray potentially, maybe if he were to get to the finals. You need to, even though he's about 5'8", 5'9", he's still a really good defender, and he gets under the skin of those players. So having a really good defensive guard really, really helps. Luke Kennard to the Lakers. Lakers lost last night, but good shooter for Gabe Vincent, who was absolutely terrible. You've seen those clips of LeBron kind of pointing him out for making defensive laps.
Oh, yeah, you can see the side eyes. Like, we should have saw that a mile away.
And he does a head nod towards him, and a couple days later, he gets traded. So
he said something like, "You always do this. You always do this." Didn't he say that in the timeout?
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, here it comes."
Put straight at him. There's not that much other big trades that happened. Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz, but
like that was the start. Like we said, it was such a random trade deadline. No big nothing that moved the needle for any team. And for Jaren Jackson Jr. to be traded to the Jazz out of all teams,
and they gave up 3 first-round picks, which is so confusing that Memphis gave that up. But
I thought Ja would have been on the block at some point because you don't want to deal with his antics anymore, and he's been not the same person that he was a few years ago. I just like the theme of this trade deadline was just random weird.
And then looking at that Jazz team, like they have some nice players. They have Bryce Sensabaugh, you have Keontae George, but you have Lauri Markkanen, like $50+ million, like one of the worst contracts in the league.
He's not worth that money, but he's not terrible.
Yeah, he's not terrible, but that
contract's awful.
Yeah, ridiculous. You have Walker Kessler, good player. Nurkic, okay. Isaiah Collier, Cody Williams, horrendous pick. I mean, he's a top 5, top 10 pick, and he's absolutely terrible. Jaren's a good player, but his contract's not, favorable, so you don't really have much cap space. And fully healthy, you're talking about Isaiah Collier, Keontae George. You have Ace Bailey, Lauri Markkanen, and
Ace Bailey. What a joke.
Walker Kessler and Jaren Jackson Jr. Like naming this roster out, like they're honestly not really even a top 5 team in the West. If you were to restart the season, and like when you restart the season fully healthy and you make these moves, they're not better than the Warriors. They're not better than the Timberwolves. You're not better than Lakers. Rockets, no. Spurs, no. Nuggets, no. Thunder, no. So you're a playing team at best. You have $100 million associated to 2 players taking up your cap space. So that's a really, really confusing move by the Jazz. I know what they want to, be a better team as of right now, but
you're not going to compete.
Yeah, you're not competing this season. And for you to make this move where you're competing for a top 5 draft pick, you're just gonna hurt your stock even more getting an all-star level player, in my opinion, Jaren Jackson. So that was a really, really confusing trade on the whole entire trade deadline.
Yeah, this weird, just I don't know.
And
they didn't have that buzz because like no one besides Giannis.
Yeah,
but then they tweeted out like, was it Wednesday or Thursday? I think it was early Thursday that they said they were going to keep Giannis.
Yeah, they could trade him in the summer and find him a better deal. And obviously, it's good to have better suitors out there. Miami's still up there. Knicks, Warriors was one of the potential outcomes, which makes 0 sense to me because
I mean I like the Porzingis trade for them. That was a decent trade, but he's just. Like that's why it was weird. He's just never healthy.
Yeah, he's injured.
I know you wanted to get rid of Kuminga, but
Now you have 2 injury-prone players and Kristaps, and you have Jimmy Butler, who's what 30. He's gonna be
I feel
35.
bad for Butler, man. His
Yeah,
BFF got traded.
yeah. But Buddy Hield
Buddy
got
Hield.
traded. Really, really good player. But next season you're gonna have 2 players all-star level at their best, borderline all NBA with Kristaps Porzingis. Won a title with the Celtics. Didn't really contribute much in that playoff run.
No, because he was hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt all the time, and now you're having him and Jimmy Butler on the same team. And
They could be a
yeah.
good team, but they just got to be healthy.
yeah, even if they are healthy, it's a really old squad. You're talking about Kristaps Porzingis, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry. You're talking about all these players like 33 plus, and half of them are injury prone. So I don't know. I don't know why they made that move. And even if they were to somehow maybe even manufacture for move for Giannis, who are you trading? Who are you keeping?
I think Buddy Hield would have been part of that
Yeah.
package, or Kuminga, but now they're both gone.
And now you have to probably involve Draymond Green into it, which who wants Draymond Green with that contract?
No, it was funny to see him say like he didn't think he was going to get traded, and then Steve Kerr brought him to his office like,
Oh.
"What does your son think about this?" or "How's your son doing?" It's like, "Oh, this is real. I could get traded." I'm like, "Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
the
you're-
difference maker on the team. You're not going to be the one that sticks around. That's Curry's team. Like ever since Thompson left, you've been a shell of yourself."
Yeah, and he's always hasn't been a really good scorer. He's mainly rely on his playmaking, his defense. It's kind of diminished now. So that was out of all trade deadline. Now that was the weirdest. That was definitely the weirdest trade. That,
100%.
That Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. It makes zero sense.
Do we want to transition to the Premier League? Since you have quite a bit there, then there's not much for MLB. We'll just discuss one or two things maybe as soon as we wrap up.
Yeah, we can discuss a little bit of the Premier League. Obviously, on Sunday we had a really, really good game in the second half. The first half was very, very poor against City and Liverpool. Man City was really, 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 really poor going into this game. So was Liverpool. Both of them are on poor forms. Obviously, they're part of the title race. Man City is. They were 9 points behind at one point in the game, and then that worldly of a free kick from Dominic Szoboszlai. I thought the game was over with. Fantastic free kick, similar to what he hit against us in the Arsenal game. And then in the second half, I don't know what Alisson was doing, just committed a silly, silly foul against Marmoush when he knocked the ball over. And he wasn't even going to even touch the ball, and he just crashed and collided into him in the box, gives him a free pen. And then Dominic Szoboszlai, who scored the fantastic free kick, was onside and let Bernardo Silva run through, and they got the goal and got the game winner for that game. Arsenal was fantastic against Sunderland. Gyökeres put a brace up in that game, puts him as his top goal scorer. No competitions in the Premier League in 2026. That's quotations. Just in this year, he's been the top goal scorer. So it just makes the title race a bit more interesting. Liverpool, again, from their perspective, that was a huge game for them because now when you look at the table, they are 6th right now, tied on points with Brentford, and Chelsea looks like they're really, really comfortable right now, and they're 4 points ahead of them. Man United is looking good. They're on a win streak. They're on a 4-game win streak. Then they play West Ham later today, and they get their 5-game win streak. And that guy, I think you've seen it before. There's this guy who's a Manchester United fan, and he said this was like during their old manager's reign, and they were just really, really struggling. Couldn't even win 5 games in a row. And the last time they've won 5 games in a row was
it doesn't shave his beard or whatever.
No, he didn't shave his hair at all.
was it.
It's just like a tree on his head at this point now. And now they have potentially get the chance to, end that because they haven't done it in the past 2 seasons. So that would be huge for them. Even though I would like to see them draw that game. That would be so funny. And that would be just so rewarding because I have friends that are United fans. They kind of bug me about Arsenal, and we lost to them this year. You have Villa, you have Man City. We're 6 points ahead. I feel comfortable about Arsenal this year, even though on Thursday we play a really, really good Brentford team against Igor Thiago, who's been absolutely fantastic. He's been one of the best strikers in the Premier League. Obviously, you have Erling Haaland. You have Hugo Ekitike, but I just think that on Thursday it's a big game, and obviously with Man City, they play Fulham. It's an easier game, but it was an easy game first time around, and then they almost choked that game. They won 5-4. But 6 points ahead, Arsenal in the comfortable lead, but they need to just take one game at a time because City are starting to, pick up in form recently with a couple of games. And obviously that Liverpool game could be a game changer, and they can just go on a massive run now and compete with us.
Wow. That was a good recap right there. Do I know most of what you were saying? Not really, because I don't really follow Premier. I know my dad who follows Premier a lot. And I was more of growing up, I was always someone who liked to play rather than watch. But if I was a fan, probably Liverpool, just because the dad don't really know anyone on the team or who's in the Premier League. But
It's a very interesting league. It's one of the best leagues in my opinion. I think it's the best league in the world.
what's like number 2 you think is the best league in the world?
La Liga with Barcelona,
Liga.
Real Madrid. They had the biggest 2 clubs in the world there. So
who's your pick this year for the World Cup then? I know it's
World
a
Cup,
while away.
That's a tough one. France, they have the squad, but their manager is a headache in Deschamps. England, they always get there, but I don't know. They changed managers now. A manager who's won the Champions League, and Chelsea haven't been really good since they fired him. And Netherlands, they're in there. So Spain's the main powerhouse, and I think it'd probably be Spain potentially. They won the Euros. Yeah, Yamal. They have super stacked team. Pedri, super stacked team. Orizabal, David Raya, the best goalkeeper in the world in my opinion, plays for Arsenal. Zubimendi, one of the best sixes in the world. They're stacked at every single position. The only team that I think that can match them talent-wise is France, but like I said, their head coach is just a nutcase at times, and he just makes boneheaded mistakes. So I just think they'll probably step on them at some point in the tournament. But I'll probably pick Spain.
There we go. Well, we'll hopefully be back in September of next year and see if that went right. So we got like 4 minutes left. We'll wrap up with a little bit of MLB. Really no crazy news. All the free agents pretty much that were left unsigned signed. Another trade that happened within the Yankees division. Caleb Durbin got traded from Milwaukee to Boston. Former Yankees prospect. Played well as soon as he left the Yankee system. Of course, that always happens with us. Besides that, there really hasn't been any crazy news. On Thursday, WBC rosters were officially announced. Unfortunately, Puerto Rico, in my opinion, really got screwed over with the insurance. And it was actually related to the Super Bowl because Bad Bunny personally paid the insurance of Correa and Lindor. The teams rejected it. So screw the Mets and screw the Astros. Both teams, as a Yankees fan, I'm grown to hate, but now I hate them even more because it's better when star players are able to play in this tournament.
100%.
And again, like I said last time, if Buxton got insured, how the heck did those two not get insured? Buxton is more injury prone than both of those. But I also wanted to talk about 2 rosters that, looking at the list, that I really love this year that are really sneaky. I love Canada. Canada has a solid roster full of MLB talent. Their pitching is something that I love a lot. You got MLB talent on that starting rotation. You have a Kyle Quantrill, James Paxton, you have Jameson Taillon, you have Logan Allen is also on that roster. And the catcher, you have Bo Naylor. And the infield is full of MLB talent. Eduardo Julian, Josh Naylor, Otto Lopez. And then the outfield, you got Denzel Clark, O'Neill. That's another roster I love. And the second one I really love is Italy, also full of MLB rosters, MLB talent on that team. You got Michael Lorenz, you have Aaron Nola, Greg Weisser. I know La Sorsa did well last year. You got Kyle Teal, great prospect in the White Sox system. Birdie, Vinny Pasquantino, Mastrobuoni is on there. And then the outfield, you got Caglione, you got Jacob Marcy. Like their coaching staff is really well too. You got Francisco Cervelli. You also have Jorge Posada who's going to be helping there as well. Obviously DR is stacked as they've always been.
Junior Camillo, Vladimir Guerrero, Manny Machado, Ketel Marte, Pena. I didn't even say Juan Soto yet. I didn't see Julio Rodriguez for Tatis. Like it's Christopher Sanchez, Camilo Duvall, like Sandy Alcantara. Yeah, they're definitely out and out the favorite.
And another team that played well last year, obviously, that's going to continue to play well. Their talent on that roster is disgusting as well. Venezuela, infield, Luis Arias, Wilson Contreras, Michael Garcia, Andres Jimenez, Eugenio Suarez, Gleyber Torres, Salviet behind the dish. And you got Andres Munoz, also for Mexico, who's going to be there as well. Mexico's another sneaky little team, but I'm so excited for the World Baseball Classic. Pitchers and catchers are also reporting this week as well. They'll be leaving their clubs within the next few weeks as they go to prepare for the WBC and then also scrimmage against a bunch of major league clubs, which I will be tuned into if I could find a way to watch it. But I think that might wrap up for this week's episode. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I think that's a wrap. Go Arsenal. Hopefully you win on Thursday, and I think it's a wrap.
All right. Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode of the Weekend Sports Recap. We'll be back same place, same time, 9 o'clock in the WIUR studio and live on YouTube.
Untouchable, unstoppable.
This is